Good evening. I'd like to call to order the December 20th meeting of the Stillwater Planning Commission. Item 2, land use items for discussion and possible action. The OSU Wesley Foundation Floor-Based Code Warrant PZ-16-2149 requesting review and approval of the FBC Form-Based Code Warrant to construct the parking lot in 2 phases at property addressed 823 West University Avenue. Mike.
Evening, I'm Mike Beatty. This request is for a revision to a warrant request in the form-based code area. We approved it, or you approved it a couple of months ago in August. The site's the proposed Wesley Foundation new building at University in Washington. They're at the southeast corner. You can see the existing tracks here. They've got 4 parcels, and part of the issue has to do with they're doing some land trading with the adjacent property owner to kind of square off the lot. If you look down there, this little jagged piece here, they're working on an agreement where they can square out the lot for both parcels, and that lot is needed to complete the ultimate development. This is what they've proposed is getting the warrants approved with a phase construction, or a phase 1 and a phase 2. Phase 1 would allow them to begin construction on the building with this not completing the southeast corner here in this southeast portion of the property. Phase 2, once they completed the land agreement and got secured all of that, they'd be able to go back to the 27 parking spaces that was approved originally. We just didn't want to approve a building permit if we weren't sure that we could handle all the parking spaces required in the warrants. So the request before you today is to re-review the warrants and see if they could do the warrant in a phasing type pattern. 27 parking spaces are required by the previous warrant application. 21 parking spaces are planned for phase 1. In the previous warrant analysis, the development required use of off-site shared parking with OSU's parking garage, but the idea was that this was going to be a campus-related facility, and that wouldn't be unreasonable. There are some dorms and some staff that will be in the facility. The 21 parking spaces provide for residents and staff members in the facility. So the proposal is to provide 21 parking spaces for phase 1, and then the remaining 6 parking spaces will be completed in phase 2 once they have secured that land deal. Any questions?
My only question was, what would happen if, for whatever reason, the phase 2 falls through?
Well,
everything collapses at that point.
That's the reason for the revised warrant request. We didn't want to. We can't issue a building permit until we know they can meet the warrants. If we issued a building permit and they weren't able to build the parking lots, it'd be in violation. So the idea was to come back to you and see if we could revise the warrant. Their intent is to provide 27 spaces, but if for whatever reason they can't secure that, will 21 be acceptable? And so their goal is to get to the 27 parking spaces, because they want the flow through circulation, what have you, that would provide. But if for whatever reason they can't do that, they want to make sure that they can still go forward with the project with basically 2 separate entrances, one off of University and one off of Washington. So.
Any other questions? All right. With that, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item, please step forward, say your name and address.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Stephen Gose with Gose & Associates, 113 East 8th here in Stillwater. We're here representing the applicant. Read through staff's report. It covered everything we need. Just to clarify, or add on to what Mike said, the timing of this, the land swap agreement is with OSU, who will be acquiring the property in May after the school year is over from the current property owner. Our client wants to start construction early next year. So by doing this, it allows, like Mike said, they can issue the building permit. We've got a development agreement on the January 9th City Council agenda to cover the public improvements and everything else. And so this is just part of that. There's a letter, I believe, in your packet from OSU saying their intent and everything. So we hope it doesn't follow through. But like Mike said, you know, if it does, we can make some minor modifications to the site that allow it to function. So if there's any questions, I'm here.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this item? Seeing none, we'll ask for anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of this item. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for staff's alternatives.
Okay, you can approve the proposed warrant as presented, which would be the phase warrant 21 and 6 spaces. You can find that the approved 27 spaces is not needed at all, and approved just 21 spaces, but we need to identify with that warrant approval reasons for the reduction. You can deny the warrant to phase the parking, and that would essentially tell them don't start until we're sure that we can get that. Or you can table the request to a certain date. That request will delay the council action on the development agreement. So they have a development agreement that will stipulate the phase construction and what will happen if they can't secure it. That's got to go to the council. Yeah.
If in fact something happens and we're not able to do the land swap and get the additional 6 spaces, what scenario, I mean, would they need to come back at
Well,
a
that's
later
why-
date to?
That's why with the phased parking warrants, their request is, hey, if for whatever reason we can't make that deal come through, would it be acceptable for them to have just the 21 spaces? And so that would be a potential in the future if they can't close that deal. So when you're looking at the review, you have to justify, is 21 spaces acceptable? And that the 21 spaces provides for staff and residents at the facility. So that is covered. The assumption was that, even on the previous warrant, was that all the additional parking needed for use of facility would be by other parking facilities on site or on campus. And so if you, with the phased warrant, this would allow them to go ahead and start, and then if they secured it, they would not have to come back and get another site change revision. So this is kind of a worst case scenario. Is it okay to just go with 21? But if they can close it, it would be back up to the 27. So that's what's presented. We do a phase 1 and phase 2 and give them the flexibility to start now and not wait until later, but also give the city the assurance that at least that minimum is going to be provided, whatever alternative they come up with.
Any discussion?
You know, personally, I think this is such a unique situation and location that 21 would probably be fine, no matter what. Now, obviously, 27 would be better. So I think in light of that, I would, like to stay with the phasing of the parking, where, again, like Mike had said, we have the opportunity to make sure that truly happens once the land is acquired. But again, if worst case it ends up 21, I can live with that personally.
Any other discussion? Anyone care to craft a motion?
Well, I'll try. How about we accept findings and approve the proposed warrant as presented?
I can second that. And that does pass 4-0. Let's see, item 3, approval of the regular meeting summary of the December 6, 2016 meeting of the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Second.
I can vote, but I can't.
Dying on the vine.
It was. And that also passes 4-0. Item 4, next Planning Commission meeting set for January 3rd, 2017. And with that, we'll entertain a motion to dismiss.
Second.
No, you have to motion.
You can move,
You have to
Oh, sorry.
entertain, he'll entertain.
I'll entertain the motion to dismiss.
and I'll second it.
All right, close enough.
We are entertained and dismissed.